Hello, everybody, and welcome to Euroschmoe, the South African and European-based after show. Should have done that the other way around. Sorry, but this week we have a very special guest, but we'll get to that because I want to introduce him properly. But first, we have Matt.
Hello, everyone.
How are you, Matt?
I'm good. I'm actually pretty great. I'm happy for our 50th episode. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great show. Thank you for everyone who joined already, Dagan, Leo, and everyone. Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be a very fun ride today.
It will be. Liam, how are you? Sorry, we joined by Liam. How
Hello.
are you?
Yeah, much better, thank you. Obviously, I was away last week with COVID, but I'm feeling better. I went to see Harry Potter yesterday in theatre and A Cursed Child, and I had a great time. So I'm in a good mood and excited to talk Showdown today. Good to be back.
Awesome stuff. Glad you're back. And joining us for the first time ever, and very special guest, and our first ever commenter, Thomas.
Hello there.
How are you, Thomas?
Hello,
How you
Leo.
doing?
See you. Dagan in the chat.
Yeah, Leo's loving that you're here.
Thanks for joining us, Thomas.
My pleasure.
And thank you to Dagan for everything. Thank you for helping us celebrate the 50th. And he says, "What's up, Thomas?" So, shall we get into the show, guys?
Let's do it.
Yep.
Okay, so this week we had some interesting news. So, firstly, Christian goes up to Gucci, and Gucci says, "I smell a moron," and then Christian basically says, "I've got a match for you, but I won't tell you what it is. We'll just put up a graphic." And that set up that after the show, we found out that Sam Levine will be taking on the Barbarian in a number one contenders match next week to take on Marisol McKee, which is very exciting. We have our two Sam Levine stands at the bottom of me and to my left. So I'll go to yes, exactly. I'll go to Liam first because I think he'll have less to say. But yes, what did you
Yeah,
think, Liam?
well, you say two Sam Levine stands. I would like to say one and one fake Sam Levine stand. Thomas is a true usual suspect. We both know that Matt is a fake one with his picks last year, always going against them. So I will allow you to say Thomas's because Thomas always rooted for the usual suspects. Matt, I'm not going to believe. Anyway, no, it's really good to. I'm really excited to see Sam back in the ring. Obviously, a few weeks ago we thought he had retired, and we were all talking about how we're going to miss him, and now he's finally back playing. So I'm really excited to see how he gets on. Want to see if time has if it's going to take a bit of time for him to settle back, if he's going to come straight back in with a bang. You could see when he was managing, particularly in the cantina, when he was behind his player, he was answering a lot of the questions, and you knew he knew the answers. So he's still obviously he's still been practicing even as a manager. So I feel like he's still got that knowledge. So, but he's got a very, very tough opponent against the Barbarian, who did really, really well in the tournament last year. So it's not an easy first match back, is it? Let's be honest. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see it, and I really don't know how that one's going to go. I think I've got my slight edge towards Barbarian at the moment, but you cannot rule out Sam.
Yeah,
Well,
for
he
sure.
asked for a number one contender match. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's gonna get someone tough, isn't he?
yeah.
You. So I'll go to Matt. Sorry, Thomas. What do you think of this news?
Naturally, I'm delighted. I will be a bit torn if he wins against the Barbarian because I love Marisol. I love Sam.
Mm.
What are you gonna do? So If they play each other in the PBV at the end of this month, I will win either way.
Exactly. That's
But
very true.
first of all, he has to beat the Barbarian,
Yeah, yeah.
which will not
ask.
an easy task.
It's gonna be a toughie.
Yeah.
And for our prediction king, Matt, what do you think of this big news?
I am also very delighted. I will just firstly say that I know why Liam said that only Thomas is the real fan of the usual suspects. This is why uh, Liam is trying to show to Thomas that he's a good person because he's sick and tired to getting destroyed in the comments. Yeah, we all know that you get destroyed, Liam, in the
Now, me and
comments.
Thomas are best friends now. Kept me on my
Yeah.
toes.
Yeah,
See.
and no, but back to Sam Levine. Yeah, I'm very delighted that he's back. As you all know, he's my favorite player, and yeah, I will not have a problem picking against anyone if Sam plays. I will always choose Sam Levine. I think that Leon would always choose Classic Clark Wolf. Whoever she would play if she came back to the Schmoe, even if some of his now new favorites. I think that one first person that really gets you into the
Yeah.
really in the fandom is it. Yeah, that's Sam for me. So for me, I will be rooting for Sam. I also do think that he actually could and will maybe will win, and this is why when Sam retired and said that he's going to give up Schmoedown. He said that the league came to the point that he couldn't keep up with the studying and that he doesn't want to disrespect the game and the league if he can't study that he's playing. And obviously, I don't think that he would come back if he couldn't study. Now Christian has set budget for the Schmodown, and I think that they have more money, to be fair, to produce it. So I think that he could actually pay Sam Levine to make time to study. I don't think that Sam Levine would be back if he couldn't study for this. I really do think that he does took very big care of his legacy and what people think of him. I don't. I know that he says that he doesn't care, but let's be honest. I think that everyone who played in the Schmodown cares about what they
Oh yeah.
left in the game, especially people who are close to being the greatest players like him, Dan, Rachel, etc. Right? So I don't think that like he didn't study. He doesn't have time. I know that he's getting married, but apparently he has time. And as Liam said already, he did answer a lot of the questions before when his players were playing, and I don't think that he studied a lot then. Also, he does have strengths in many categories that people are very weak on, and I think that's his biggest strength. That's the categories that people usually don't know. He knows very well, and yeah, I will say that I do think that Barbarian is a tough opponent, and I will say it's Sam's first match back. So I will tell everyone that Barbarian does have statistically for me slight edge. To be fair, because he played, but I will still be rooting for Sam Levine. Because I think that if he comes to this era and then wins the title immediately, you can immediately put him back into that Mount Rushmore discussion that he never left in my heart and for me, because he's the only one. And I think that people forget that he's the only player ever to. I think Leo can, of course, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that Sam Levine is the only player ever to defend both belts at the same time. So defended the singles and then defended the teams. I think that all the other players who has been double belted, they either lost the singles or inner geekdom or teams and keep the other, or lose both belts. I don't think that any other player could manage to defend both belts when someone had two belts, and that's one feather in his cap that I think no one else has in the Schmoedown universe.
And another thing, he's one of three people who have defended the belt twice. So maybe four now with Marisol. But yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah.
So I have a
that-
question for everyone.
yeah.
Leo, because we're not doing our predictions anymore. Leo has
Yeah.
gone for Barbarian. What's everyone's pick? I'm going to go Barbarian as well. I'm with Leo.
Chris Todd's
Um,
going Sam.
Well, she says no. I think she's rooting for Sam. I don't know if that's a prediction. So
yeah.
if you
Chris,
in the
please
comments,
tell
let
us
us
if I'm
know
right.
who you got. Who have you got
Yeah.
in the comments? And Matt and Thomas, I'm assuming you're going Sam, but who have you got?
I go Sam, yes, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Barbarian wins because
Okay,
I
cool.
think it's a 50-50 chance.
Matt, you Sam?
Okay.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure
I'm
if
Sam. I
how
am
how
Sam.
much.
I
Yeah,
I
I'm not sure
do
how much
recognize that
Sam is good in IG.
Barbarian is a slight favorite, but no, like I'm in the place now where Teresa was sometimes ago last year. Then when Dan plays, she always picked Dan because it's Dan. But now I am in that place with Sam. I'm picking Sam because it's Sam,
Ben, who
and
you
I
got?
am happy. Yeah.
Okay.
What?
So
Who you got, Ben?
I have Barbarian.
So
I
we're
see
50-50.
yeah, I see Dagon's got Barbarian.
Jess is
Kiwi
Barbarian.
Jess has got Barbarian. Krista went with Sam.
Brian's
That
got
is
Sam. It's so
Brian.
split.
I will tell you it's going to be a hell of a close match, I think. But yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked either. Sorry, Thomas, were you going to say something else there?
I'm not sure how good Sam is in IG. Sure, he is with Rachel, but we'll see.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure Barbarian will be prepared for that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you're right. So that's the big news coming out of the Titans this week. But shall we move on to some of the matches now? But before we do, I actually want to give a big shout out to Dagon and Any Given Schmoe Day. They are coming up after us. They had their 50th 2 weeks ago. But
On YouTube
watch
now.
their tweet. Yes.
Congrats, guys.
And they have some awesome shows on YouTube too. So please go give them a shout out. Tell them Euroschmoe sent to you. And hey, Luke has joined us.
Luke, who you got?
So, yeah.
Barbarian or Sam? I want to know who you got.
Yeah, tell us. So I just wanna so I'll point that out in comments, but we'll just move on to my favorite match of the week: ruling class versus plot twist. And I was so excited and I was so happy during this match, and I was laughing from start to finish. Sorry, I'm gonna stand out a bit here. Liz and Brandon and Koi are such a good team and they have such chemistry, and I love it. And Luke's going with Barbarian, and the fact that they lost what kind of tempered my joy a little bit, but it was such a close match that I still think that they still have a chance to do really well. Sorry, I just had to stand out a bit there, but yes. So Thomas, what did you think of the match?
I enjoyed it really much. This was very funny. Brandon Henna, is he good now? We'll see. He has much darkness in him still. We'll see how that plays out. No,
Yeah.
I liked
Yeah.
it very much, and it was a high scoring game. 37-36, I believe it was. That was
Yeah.
really good, especially a ruling class, perfect round, both very good.
Yeah.
Brandon Hanna, I thought that Brandon might miss one or two questions, but he was pretty good. And second round, okay, that was Harry Potter. But we'll see when they get the next match, and they won't hit an IG slice.
Mm, mm.
We'll see how that turns out.
To be fair, I think Liz carried them in that though, even though it's an IG slice, because we know she's good at Harry Potter from what they'd said in the post
Yes.
match. Seems like Liz
Yeah.
pulled a lot of
Yeah.
them more than Brandon. So can I'm gonna jump in. I'm sorry, Ben. I've got feelings about this.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Luke's put in. I want to bring this up because I saw this and I agree. Liz and
Strange is the
Brandon,
right word, I believe.
Yeah.
it's strange, and I think I'm not a fan. I
Yeah.
I think I think Liz is a caliber of player in the Schmoedown where partnering her with Ethan makes sense. I think she is on her day as good as some of the best in the whole league. We saw her run a couple years ago in the singles. I think pairing her with Brandon, he is not at that level. And it's not no disrespect to Brandon, but obviously he's kind of new to the teams and singles. He's mainly an IG player. I think she is a better player than with Brandon Hanna. And I know that's maybe harsh, and I'm sorry, but I just think I felt bad for her because it's essentially they lost because of his misses. Really,
Mm.
in round one, I think he missed 3 or 4. I think she only missed one, which is the inside-out question. And it seems like she carried the round two as well. So
And he missed
you know,
Hook.
and he
I
missed Hook.
can't blame
So
him, but okay.
oh, thank you, Luke's on my side. Luke is on my side. Appreciate it, Luke. I just think it's a bit unfair on Liz. If I'm being honest, I think she is someone who could like she almost won the team's belt last year, and now she's playing with someone who is like not at the same level as her. I just don't get it. I don't think it's.
Mm.
I just think there's better players for her to be playing with personally. So
I think
that's my
pairing up
thoughts.
these two will more help Brandon than Liz.
Yes,
Mm.
yes.
So
But that was my biggest takeaway. But the match was a good one, and they did really well to put it back with Wizarding World. And the only other thing I would say is Sir Flirton Flaus as manager. I much prefer to Sir Flirton Flaus as player. That is the right role for him. Personally, for me, I didn't like him as a player, but as a manager, I think it works better
yeah,
with the help of
Yes.
Jill, which was nice to see as
I
well.
I
Go on.
want to say for me, I just want to first go to the cut scene before the match with Flaus and Koi because no one talked about that, and
Yes.
I loved that scene. Flaus was really awesome when he slapped Koi. I didn't see that coming. When he said, "I forgot what they said," and then came back.
That was good.
Yeah,
That made me
yeah.
chuckle.
Like you can see that he's a comedian who understands where this show is supposed to go sometimes. So I really hope he will get more people in his
Mm.
faction because I love him as a manager. I really. I really, really think that that's great thing. You put Jill,
Leo.
who is maybe not so comfortable hyping people up and stuff like that. You put her as a strategist, and then you have your Flirts and Flowers as your mic guy, and that I think that that's great.
Mm, mm.
Like I really laughed really really hard when that cut scene, and I want to give as someone who said that I like matches more than the cutscene, and that's of course true, and storylines. I want to give props to the Schmoedown when the story and the cutscene is really good, and this is by far my favorite one because it was funny, but it progressed the story as well. So I really enjoyed it.
Mm.
So I will start with that, and then to the match itself. I first thought, like, okay, Hannah and Liz, this could work. Hannah is pretty good in IG. At least he should be really good in IG. And then Liz has that general knowledge movies knowledge, and like I can see why, like when Hitman can carry her, and then when she should carry Hitman. Of course, with most of the load falling to the Liz's shoulders. To be fair, but I thought that it would be much better, and then the match happened, and yeah, they got Harry Potter, and I was great. Hannah will carry this now. He's an IG player. Uh, this should be perfect for them. And then Liz carries him in Harry Potter as well. As you all know, I was very happy to see Wizarding World Spawn get some Harry Potter questions asked. Yes, and
Did you get them all right?
yes,
I think I went 5.
yes.
I did too. I missed the
Uh,
Trelawney one.
Oh,
I did okay.
and
I believe
uh,
I wouldn't have get one.
yeah,
I've
and
seen the
I just
movies
wanted
once, a couple of years ago. Never read the books.
yeah, get it. So I just want to talk about the other team. We didn't talk as much.
Yes, I
Yet.
was
And
going to get to that. So Jill was an advisor, and
can I?
we had a
Okay, no.
yeah. Sorry, carry
Yeah,
on.
I just want to tell you, I'm so happy with that pairing, uh, and it's a perfect name for that team. Like the classy guys as a ruling class, and I think that this team is a dark horse team. I don't think that people realize how strong is this team. Uh,
Mm.
to be fair, Ty Lieberman really is a good player. As Barbarian said, he's his like quiz partner in the that space, I think, and
Mm.
I'm sure he studied a lot. He studied a lot. Oh, it's Teresa. Teresa can. Hi, Teresa.
Yay!
Hello,
So
Teresa.
while we on a bit of a break from this, I just want to ask you guys something. What do you think of Brian's idea here, the House of Flout? I like it.
Oh,
I
that's a
really like
great
I
it.
name.
Right, yeah, I think Skybound needs to be giving you some money for that. To be honest,
Yes,
I'm a
yes, they do,
fan.
Brian.
Yeah,
So
that's a
you're
great
saying that?
one. Yeah,
If
so
they
I
even,
think that this is a sneaky good team who could, in some tournament, get very, very, very far. And like Bibbs said in multiple interviews and stuff, that sometimes Whitney knows more than him. And we also did see how Whitney did really good in that horror free for all as well.
yeah.
So I think that this is a really good team. Flirtenfaust has on his hands. I wouldn't remember to put those two people together, but they did, and kudos to whoever uh, had an idea to put those two to play together. And we also, as Thomas said before, that they scored a lot of points in their first match together. And remember, Whitney didn't play last season, I think, as well. So
That's a shame.
It's nice that he's
yeah,
back. I'm pleased he's back and with a good
Yeah.
partner. They got a good shot this year.
And I
yeah,
like
I
that.
have no
They have
names.
nail style and why. I just
yeah. We
wanted to
miss you,
point
Teresa.
out
We
what
miss you so much.
I just wanted to point out what Chris has said here. that he finally has a good partner, which I completely agree with, and I'm glad to see Whitney has a good partner that he can balance with, and that we finally seeing Whitney finally get his record that he deserves for being as good a player as he is. So yeah. I just wanted to say I loved every interaction there. There's one thing that no one's spoken about that I really wanted to point out, which was the crowd interaction on this show was just fantastic from start to finish, which I really missed last week. And like last week, the crowd felt really dead. This week, they came alive with laughter and boos and cheers, and it kind of that kind of brought
I
everything
have a
back up again.
question
And
about
I'm
that
so glad to
again.
hear that.
Yeah, I have a question about that again. Guys, do you have the feeling that it's the pre-recorded booze and stuff like that
You can.
again?
They are using it, but there's differences. You can sometimes it's. I can hear bibs.
Yeah.
Like I know it's bibs.
Yeah. That's
but
what
there's
I
other
was
times.
gonna say.
Last week it was more.
Yeah,
All of it,
I
yeah.
agree.
But it
They've
was
toned it a
it was
bit.
this week as well, right? On the second
Yeah, but
match a little,
it
right?
wasn't as bad as last week. Like, last week it was jarring. Like it was
Yeah.
off-putting at times. It's got better than I think they're mixing it with the real like Ben was referring to a lot more seamlessly now.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
lighting in the studio was way better.
I agree.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it looked a lot better.
I think they took some of our criticisms and they edited out a bit better and looks much better. And as you said, the lighting is better. I love that. So there was one thing that I'm just going to touch on a bit here, which was at the end of the segments during the interview, they kind of ignored Jill and shut her out. And Luke on Twitter kind of pointed out that she looked like baby in the corner of a club, which was fantastic. So there was one thing that I wanted to kind of sprinkle in there, which was maybe we have down the line a bit of a Jill versus the Flirt and Flouse kind of rivalry going on. Maybe down the line a little bit. I would like that, but don't know what
Maybe
you
next
guys
year.
think. Maybe.
I'd say that was done for a reason. I think they wouldn't have just put her at the back for no reason. So I'd say watch that space. Something will happen with that, I imagine. Maybe she'll get her own faction eventually or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I agree, Dagan. So yeah.
Yeah, production. You can really see the difference in production now, right?
Yeah.
Just one advice: if someone from the show is listening to this, as we talked with, I think, Jess a couple of shows ago, put something behind the competitors that it's not just the white wall. I think it would bring color to the matches even more. So yeah, that's the only advice about the production. Yes,
it isn't white; it's some kind of blue or something.
Yeah, it's like a surgery greeny blue. Yeah. As you said, Thomas, last week, I think it was that it looks very sterile.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
maybe because we are used to the old studio, there was a lot of things in the background.
Might just take some getting used to.
Yeah.
There was actually something that someone pointed out on another show. That I think it was Jay. He said that he's colorblind. So the colors are very jarring for him. Do you guys think that might be a problem, or is that a very kind of niche thing
Who's
to be
colorblind?
worried about?
Who is
Jay?
Thomas had?
Jay from Speaking of Schmoe.
Oh,
I'm not sure about that.
But do you think that that could be a problem for people that might have color blindness issues? Do you think that might be?
I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. I haven't really got much to say. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm not
Fair,
sure.
fair.
So
I just
Maybe, I don't know.
Should probably move on, I guess, to the next
yeah,
one.
fair. Okay. Moving on to No More Mr. Big Time. Mr. Irwin versus Janine the Machine. This was a very interesting match. So it was Janine versus no more Ethan Big Time Irwin. It is now Mr. Irwin. And we are joined by the movie Troya Schmoe. This is so cool. Welcome, guys.
thank you very
so
much for the compliment.
Thank you.
Yes.
Much appreciated. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Yes. This was this was an interesting match. I think Janine held her own in the first round. Kind of fell apart for her in the second round. I think this was due to kind of a bad luck spin, and then just couldn't. The uh, differential was just too high for her at the end. So, I mean, Mattia, do you want to kick us off with this one?
I can. So, Mr. Irwin, another great character turn, I think, this season, because, how to say it, Ethan as a face was just Ethan. I didn't see him playing a character. He was just Ethan as a face. So I just think that him as a heel is great. I love his Mr. Ethan character. I think that him with Roxy is very very scary, because I think that Roxy really gets her players to study, and I think that if she could get Jeff Snyder to study some things, I think she can get Ethan Irvin to study some things as well. And yeah, Ethan is a player with who you cannot really afford to miss much. And I think Janine obviously got not so good category for her, not her strength. And I think that for her, it happens the thing that happens to many players over the years, and that's at some point you could see that her confidence was lower. Yeah. Uh, yeah, so I could see that her confidence was lower after that second round, and you could see that she like second guessed herself in the third round a little bit. I could at least see it, and I think that she will come back much stronger after it. Uh, I love her in the dungeon as well. The setup was actually perfect. Like you can see the rivalry between the stars and the dungeon. That will be the team, obviously, one of the teams of the show this year, and I think it's one of the best solutions. I will say again, I still prefer the dynamic between Shannon and Roxy. That's my favorite, like rivalry between managers. To be fair, but we will see. Yeah, the story made. I love that the story made sense leading up to the match, and then the match itself were culmination of the story. That's what I talked about in the previous show that I love the most when Schmoedown does, when the story is the complement to the match, and I think that this match was perfectly illustrated that Ethan was Ethan, knowing almost everything. I think that he missed what one question, right? Uh, am I
Didn't he miss
correct on
two in
that?
round? He might
Two
have
in round
missed
one.
two in round one, but yeah.
Oh, okay. So
I
yeah,
believe
he
he
was great.
missed.
So yeah. So yeah, great match. Ethan Irvin. Yeah, I think that he was the favorite. To be fair, so like a little, not a big favorite, but I think that he was a little favorite uh, in this match, and I really think that Janine will bounce back really, really strongly uh, uh, after this. Yes.
So I just wanted to point this out. We got a bit of a teaser here from the movie Trivia Schmoe. Next week is going to have some
Ooh.
interesting scenes, I see. So, hey, if no one else wants to join me, I'll definitely do a reaction. But yeah, that's going to be cool.
That is good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually think that as reactions, I think that reactions to the scenes are much more interesting. To be fair to the someone who watches, because if I remember correctly, in our
Our
reactions when we
trivia
did it,
knowledge were not great, was it?
yeah, our trivia knowledge was not great, but I think
No.
that our reactions to the scenes between the matches was the most interesting part of the
Yeah.
reactions.
I
So
think seeing
now,
us score 3 out of 10 and being a winner is
yeah,
maybe not as
yeah. So
interesting as our reaction to the teams.
so now when we have specifically all the scenes cut out in the, we can just react, for example, to the scenes. Yeah. Are we going to someone else like Thomas, for
Yes,
example, right?
Thomas, I wanted to ask you because you were a Usual Suspects fan, and Mr. Owen was part of the Suspects last year. But what did you think of this match?
It was a really, really good match. Ethan missed one question in the first round. I see it in my notes here.
Thank
Oh, I
you.
was
Better than
correct.
us,
Yes,
Thomas.
yes, I was correct. Yeah.
And the steal in the second round was, sure, it was a big 4-point swing. And he almost did it a second time. If he did the plural reverse, waters, not reverse, waters. But
That would be a tough steal, right?
I had the feeling from the beginning that Mr. Irving might win the match because he rarely misses questions.
Yeah, he's class.
And Janine's category, courtroom dramas, that's a tough category.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
I love
once
them,
Owen,
but it is. I love the courtroom dramas. Sorry.
Okay. May I speak on this match? I
yeah,
have a lot of
yes,
opinions.
please do, please do.
First of all, I just wanted to say thank you so much for that. That means a lot to me, and I still was like amazed that happened when I was in China. I'm still gobsmacked that one of my students had a movie Trivia Schmoe shirt and knew about it, and that was still like one of the biggest like bizarre moments of my life. So thank you. That's really thoughtful if we're still here. And yeah, so this match, a few things. I'm really, really pleased that it wasn't a TKO because it was looking like it might be for a while. And I'm so pleased Janine was able to pull that 5 because for the way it was going, I didn't think she had it, and then she pulled it out the bag. So I'm really pleased that it wasn't TKO because she's a good player, and I just think, like you said, she got a bit unlucky with her round 2. I'm also really, really happy that they did not give Ethan the points for Dark Water over Waters because there was a few issues last year with that sort of thing, and it was a bit inconsistent. So it's like from the one of the first matches of the season now, they've been sharp with that. Even Guy thought he got it right, and then Ellis was like, no, it's Waters, not Water. So I'm pleased to see that that's sort of come into force now, and hopefully we get some more consistency, and that was really good. That was really, really good. So happy about that. And I'm just saying I'm loving the dynamics. I was shocked when Ethan went to Roxy. I was completely fooled. I'm loving him with Roxy. I'm loving the new persona. I want to see Hill Ethan. It'd be like quite exciting just to see this new side of him. Janine with Kaiser's a really good match as well. Like Janine and Smets, like complete fan favorites. I'm liking that dynamic. And obviously Kaiser. I think Ethan was favourite to win. I don't think it was the biggest shock. I'm just pleased that it wasn't a knockout or a TKO. So that was my thoughts on the match, and I'm sure Janine's going to come back swinging.
I'm sure. I just want to point this out. Maybe this might be one of the reasons why. So yeah, there was another movie like that, but definitely glad to see more.
I like the consistency. Consistency is great. This season, consistency is great.
I fully agree. Don't get me wrong. I fully agree, and I'm glad to see it. And we've seen it. I think in last week's match, one of last week's matches as well, which was awesome to see for me. But yeah, I think that's pretty much. Actually, no, that's not what we have to say about the Titans, because we had a bit of a small clip afterwards with Mr. Witt and Mr. JTE and Mr. Paul Preston, the Power Keg, and I'm so pleased with this that Adam Witt and Paul Preston are back together. Maybe not as a team, but as a faction now, with Adam Witt managing, and we may see a bit of Powder Keg Little Eagle team up, which I think will be one of the underrated teams of the year. Maybe they'll form a kind of Patriots shoot off, and maybe we'll finally see Paul Preston with the belt. I doubt it, but maybe.
No, I love it. I think we said when we announced that he's going to have a faction, we were quite confident that Preston would probably be one of his players. So I'm glad to see movie guys reunite, as Leo's just said, and I really like JT and Preston. I think that's a really good match. Obviously JT beat Preston last year, so now they're going to team up, and I'm excited to see what that team can do. My guess is that maybe they're going to play next week in Friday Night Titans, even as they set that team up. Maybe against some other team that we're not sure of yet. But yeah, no, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I think it's a good team.
Yeah.
Thomas?
Yeah, I like the team up as well. Powder Keg and JTE. I think they have a. I don't know if they will have a good chemistry. We'll see. But trivia knowledge-wise, I believe that's a good pairing.
And Mattia, thoughts?
So I think that's a pretty good pairing. I do see some probably similar strengths in some regards and not so similar in others. But I don't know how I didn't see this happening. Paul Preston coming to his friend in his faction, right? I think that would be obvious, to be fair. And I would love if they made. Do you know that before each draft, when movie guys would do why should you draft the movie guys in your faction, right? I would love if they would do why should you join their faction like skit. I think that would be perfect and very funny. But yeah, first let's talk about Paul Preston as a player coming to with perfect pairing, right? They know each other, they work together. So yeah, I do think. Sorry, Teresa, if you're still here, that Paul Preston was the A player in his team last year, and he did go through longer in the tournament. I think in the tournament, right, in the little tournament, not the so to say the right tournament, but the tournament they said it's the tournament, but it wasn't the tournament, right? With JT, Collins, and everyone, right? And he does know his stuff, and I think that the team will be good because I think that Paul Preston knows those older movies and maybe rom-coms and stuff like that JT probably doesn't, and JT knows a lot of the let's to say obscure movies. And don't forget, guys, when Patriots formed, if you were here in the third season, no one really saw them as a 10-time defending belt holders, and they did it. So
You never
yeah,
know.
you never know. So it's a good pairing. I really do want to see Dan Merle with Witt as his star single player, and then want to see Mara as his inner geekdom one. Uh, and I think that
Very,
that will happen, but we'll see.
Preston hasn't won a teams match. Brian's told us.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the year it changes.
Yeah, that's
I
about
mean,
to change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely think so. And when they finally face the Wild Berries, they'll be beating them too. But yeah. So I think that's almost our rundown of this week in Schmoe. But Mattia, you have a segment on our show now.
Yay!
Wild card.
Yeah, I'm
What
gonna
have you come
go
up
with.
with?
Yeah, I came up with the title of the backstage. If you watch the backstage, you know what the title is, and the title is "Who is the best team ever?" Debate. Let's reignite that one, guys. So I want to know, in your opinion, who is the best team ever and why? Uh, and yeah, that's it.
Okay. Who goes first? It's your segment.
Thomas, you're our guest, so
Okay. For me, the best team is Shazam. Not
Like
just
Dagan.
because not just because of their record. They haven't won as many championship matches as the Patriots have. But first of all, Shazam is a two-time champion team, and they have the best record of all teams. And if they win their next game, their next match, then there's no question about that in my mind. My favorite team, though, is still the Shire Wolves. Always will be.
Mhm.
So the next one, I will go. I know the answer on this one for sure, but I'm going with Ben.
you know it. It's got to be Shazam. They are, I think,
Yeah,
at this
yeah,
point, 15-2, two-time, two-time belt holders, defended at Spectacular, to the in the face of everyone that said that they couldn't win at Spectacular, and the kid's broken his other curse of losing his first match of the year, and they're on a streak, and I can't wait to see them carry on that streak.
yeah. So now I will go because I'm the most interested in what Liam will say, but I will leave him for in the end. That's why. So now I will go. So for me, yeah, with that last one, when they beat King Arthur, that's what put Shazam over for me, over the Patriots. I see your point, Thomas, that they are two-time defending champions, but that means they lost the title right once. It was hard for Patriots to be two-time champions when they went 10 times defending the belt. To be fair, but I will say Shazam is the better team with 51-50, right, against corruption, and I just think that they are pinnacle of teams. Really, they are probably what some would say Habib is in the UFC. If someone is watching the UFC, and yeah, I, I will say that Shazam is the best team, but I will say that Patriots are the second best team with their accomplishments for me, and it's it is close, but with the win over King Arthur, for me, Shazam is the best team. I know that all the digital era stuff, and yeah, but they won on Spectacular when everyone watched. It was live, and 5150 was also like live. So they did their two big matches live. So that argument for me is no longer there. So Shazam is the greatest team in my eyes. And now let's hear.
I
Oh,
have a
sorry, Thomas.
counterpoint. I have a counterpoint to your argument that the Patriots, I know the Shazam lost their title once. The Patriots lost their title and could not win
Yeah,
it again.
I
Shazam
agree.
did that.
Yeah, but
They did
also
win it
let's
again,
just
right?
what?
No,
Didn't they? They lost to Above the Line and then
Yeah,
they
and
won
then
it back.
they had 3 matches against Above the Line.
Yeah, first they won, second they
First
lost,
the
and
one,
then
and then the
Iron Man won.
Iron Man match. You know.
They didn't play the proper match, but
With you.
I will say that if Above the Line kept going, I think that Above the Line would be yeah, maybe. But okay.
So my pick.
Liam, please tell us yours.
Just before, I just want to clarify something. What was is you saying the best or that it was best, right? Best team of all time.
Da. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
So
It was
everyone,
crazy.
this is I don't understand. Like it's so obvious. It's clearly the wild berries. Like I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. No. My pick is Patriots at the moment. It's very,
Oh,
very close between Shazam and Patriots. I
oh, I
think
thought you
you
would
thought
say
I was going to say
Shirewolves for sure.
Shirewolves. Shirewolves,
Yes.
I'm the same as Thomas. Shirewolves are my favorite team, but just like statistically, I can't say they're the best. Like because they just didn't they didn't go sort of long enough, and just in terms of what Shazam and Patriots have done, I don't. They're my favorite, but I can't say they're the best team of all time. So I'm similar to Thomas on that. But what I will say is I think the reason I give the slight edge to Patriots over Shazam, and I think probably one more title defense is going to go for me, but I think it was the unexpectedness, is that a word, of their run. So I feel kind of like Bibiani, we knew was a star. I know Brendan, when he joined Shazam, was good, but maybe not at that same level as Bibbs. Whereas now they're both like star players. But like we knew Bibbs was fantastic from the beginning. I think JTE and Jeff, no one saw that run coming. Like
Yeah.
when we we do a segment, Euroschmoe's top threes, and on that last week we had Clark Wolf's decision, and on that evening, everyone thought that Clark and Riley would be the team to watch, and that those are the ones that everyone's going to have to look out for with Wolves of Steel. And it ended up being the second announcement of that night, which was Jeff and JTE, and that, or maybe the third, and no one saw them becoming the champions and retaining it as often as they did. They had some of the most entertaining matches as well. Obviously, I think the top 10 matches are still one of some of my favorites. Some of those top 10 title matches, and I'm sure Roka doesn't remember it that way as entertaining, but it was watching it at the time. So I still give the slight edge to Patriots, but it could. I have no issue with you saying Shazam. I think Shazam is a good pick as well.
And
So-
Patriots are my favorite team, just to be clear on that one.
Just want to point out some of the things in the comments. So there was Shazam, Patriot Shazam Corruption, and then Patriot second, Chilwell third, and then Corruption fourth, which was it's a good. We have some good teams in the league right now, I must say. But yeah, so we're gonna do a bit of a twist on our show, considering it's our 50th show. So what we are going to do is we are going to do our favorite moments from the last 49 episodes, or since this is our 50th, and maybe you have some favorite moments of this episode. But yeah, we'll we're gonna say our favorite moments of our Euroschmoe career so far. um, I think I'll start with maybe Liam first.
Yeah, I think one thing that's automatically come to my mind is the laughter, and I can't remember exactly what you said, Ben. But it was Ben. You said something which was an innuendo without meaning to, and then me and Teresa was laughing for about 10 minutes, and we couldn't control ourselves. It's really bothered me because I can't remember what it was you said, but I remember you saying something which chuckled me and Teresa, and then we were just laughing for the rest of the show. Um,
I remember
so
that.
uh, that's one of my favorite moments. I think uh, the heel turn of Matt is up there for me with his little golem routine. That was quite enjoyable. Beneco, I liked Beneco. But I think my favourite's probably Teresa creating the crown and putting it on it, which is in our intro. That was really fun, and I'm just glad she didn't win in the end. I'll just actually saying that I'd rather she won than Mr. Prediction League King above me here. Um, her punishment was a lot nicer. So those are some that jumped immediately to my mind.
Cool. Thomas.
Ooh, favorite moments. That's tough. Usually, when I disagree with Liam, I could give him shame, shame, shame.
You said that's some of my favorite as well, Thomas.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. Please continue to disagree with me in the future. I very much enjoy it.
Well, I'm pretty sure we will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also liked when you have guests on your show, like TV Jess 2 weeks ago, I believe it was. Yeah, that's always fun.
We definitely plan to have more of those. But yeah, I just wanted to point out today again, yes, I will always spell it correctly. But before I go to Mattia, because his is going to be a bit of an interesting one. But yeah, I think it might be
That's just a
interesting.
joking
I don't
one.
know. I don't know. He's kind of an enigma for me. But I think my favorite two moments are probably Theresa making the crown and Mattia's little golem thing. What I loved about those is how we kind of Mattia did his own thing, Teresa did his own thing, and we made it a surprise for everyone. I kind of like that. So that was mine. And yeah, you gave me a good good one with that innuendo because it took me a while, but I realized. But I do remember that very well.
I
So
want to
now we'll
remember
go.
what it was you said. I cannot remember what it was.
We'll
It
have
was
to go
funny.
back and watch it
Yeah.
again. But yeah, Mattia.
Yeah, for me, of course, when I I won the prediction. Like, no, I'm kidding.
Oh.
No,
Yawn.
I'm kidding. It was when Croatia beat England in the World Cup.
Oh my
No,
God, get him
not
out.
that one as well.
Get him out.
No,
Who's admin?
the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Yeah. that's not the Euroschmoe. That's just football.
It's nice to be beaten in
Nothing to
Euros.
do with this show.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding. No. The storylines we tried to create was great. That's one of my favorite. Like Teresa Crown, as Liam said, Benny Ho is one of. He was the first, right? He was the first when Ben snapped. And I do wonder if we are going to see him again on these shows sometimes, maybe. I also do love when did my golem thing that Liam tried to respond.
What do you mean tried?
Tried to respond. Let's be honest here.
How
No,
dare
I'm kidding.
you?
It was great. Yeah, but for me, it's okay. This is like behind the scenes. Like when Shug was on our show, and it's not because we got our first guest competitor, but the we didn't know what is going to happen, and we saw when we saw the Saul coming in, and we didn't know that he would come in. The panic I saw on each of our faces, right, because we weren't prepared at all for that. Like Shuk didn't tell us, I'm going to try to get the competitor to join you, prepare some questions. And I think Shuk is great in that thing, that he didn't tell us anything. We had to improvise. And the sheer panic on our face, I think was great. And that was like one of my favorite moments. Like, oh my god, what's to do now, right? And just go with the flow. And yeah, that panic, and that's great. But one of my favorite moments, it's not maybe on the show, but I liked when we actually talked about movies after the show, or before the show. And this is why you can now see Save My Movies and stuff like that, because we realized that we like to talk movies in general. So we are just making the show. You just hear what we talk about usually after the show, and that's literally what we did. So also that's one of my favorite moments, and getting to know. I know it's cliche, but getting to know like people from the show, and we did get from other people in the community that do we know each other from before. Like no, in Europe we don't have really, and Thomas probably knows that we really don't have the, how to say it, commodity that if someone is in some other state, that there is a willingness and means for people to travel often to other states and to meet people. Unfortunately, I would if I had more means to do it. But yeah, and we didn't know each other, and this is really also. I met everyone here, including Thomas, doing the show. Thomas from the comments, and you guys, of course, live, and that's that as well. And I know it's cliche, but really it is true. So yeah, uh, that's it. But
It's a cliche for a reason because it's a good good one, and I completely agree with you for that one. Um, but yeah, I think we'll call it there for our show. Thank you everyone for joining. I do want to say before we go, there's one thing that I want to plug before we go, which is please watch our new episode of Save My Movies. I really enjoyed this one. I know Liam might have hated it a bit, considering the topic, but
wrong
it was a
choices.
lot of fun. Mattia hated our choices, but yeah, I had a lot of fun watching and being in that episode. So yeah, uh, please watch it. It was probably it's one of my favorite things to be on. One of my favorite things that we do, in, uh, other than Euroschmoe. But yeah, uh, that's just one other thing that I'm going to plug. And then, guys, please check out other people in the community. Check out Any Given Schmo Day, Point of View, um, Galaxy Geeks, especially.
Spin
Thank
from
you
the
to
real.
them for Spin from the
Everyone.
Real. Everyone,
So,
thank you to Galaxy Geeks for doing our graphics and giving us ideas, and it's awesome. I'll now switch to Thomas. Is there anything you want to plug anywhere you want to have?
Yeah, you find me on Twitter at Thomas 60h underscore HH. I believe it is.
Fair enough.
Otherwise, I'm here in the chat.
I'm sure you'll be back to disagree with me next week, Thomas. And I look forward to it.
Yeah, anything you want to plug?
So yeah, I'm just Schmoe at Twitter. You can find me there. You can always find me in the group on the Facebook as well. And yeah, I will just plug say my movies again, because I wasn't on that show, but I really enjoy it, and it's not because it's another channel. I just enjoy that kind of things. And another great show with the wrong picks, but a great show. And yes, please check that out. Check all our friends out in the community. Watch the Titans. It's completely different show. Watch the Schmoe. And yeah, see you next week for our 51 show.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Liam?
Thanks, everyone. Please watch Save My Movies. Drops Saturday nights, usually at 8 p.m. Is it, Ben? UK time? Yep. Great one this week with video game movies. I hate video game movies. Ben enjoys them, so it's a good dynamic. And if you haven't seen our first one, it was Pixar, and that was a real tough one because there's so many good ones. Next week we should have another one out. I think Gotham. Maybe a bit obvious what it is, but yeah. Hopefully we'll have that ready for you next week.
There's just one other thing that I want to plug. Please check out Any Given Schmoe Day. They are doing a huge announcement that may involve us. So please check it out. And yeah, it starts in about less than half an hour now. So yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys next week for more Euroschmoe.
Yeah.